Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. Okay, I don't know why I just crossed my arms. So, I want to talk about something different today. I'm probably going to stirring the pot a little bit. I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble for this video, but who cares? This is my truth. It's my channel. That's why it's called Peter Likes Books, and not Sheila Sue Likes Books. It's Peter Likes Books. So I wanted to do the video earlier today about like watching your first Booktube video back and then like responding to it. And so I was watching it and I was like, oh my God. But I was really thinking about like what I thought Booktube would be like when I started Booktube, and then what happened over time, and like what my response is to Booktube now as being a member of Booktube and like part of it. You can't kick me out. You can't, okay? I heard y'all tried. I heard you took a vote and you failed. So no, that didn't happen. But so let's talk about Booktube for a second, right? When I started Booktube, I thought it would be just meeting a bunch of happy people and we would all be like, oh my God, I love you and I love you too and all this kind of stuff, right? We would talk about books and what books we liked, and I would find a lot of new books and do book hauls and do book reviews and readathons, and that's happened. I mean, that has happened, right? But one of the things that I did not expect, I don't know why, but I did not expect there to be drama in the Booktube community. I really didn't, you know, and I have watched YouTube for a very long time. I am very aware that there is drama in other communities on YouTube. There is drama in the makeup community, a lot of it. You know, because I have another channel where I do makeup drama on there, so I know all about that. And I knew that there was like, you know, drama in the, you know, like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, that kind of stuff. And I knew that there was drama within like the gaming community, and there was drama within the mommy blogger community and all that kind of stuff, right? But I really didn't expect, I mean, there was even like drama in the candle review company. Drama in the candle review company. Drama mama. There's drama in the candle review community. And I just didn't expect it to be over here on Booktube. I really didn't. And I don't know, maybe it was because I was just innocent and naive and thought, you know, like we're all going to get along, and that had been my experience of talking to people about books. And, you know, through the years, I don't really know that many people that talk about the books that I like to read. So to find a community where at any given time I can find 10 or 20 people or more that are talking about the books that I'm currently reading is amazing to me, right? It's like going to a book club, but they're reading every book that I want to read, and I can find 20 people out there that have different perspectives on it, you know? About 2 months into my experience on Booktube, I got myself involved in a little bit of drama when it came to this whole issue of what is a reader. And I made a rant video about that. I just looked actually, and it's like one of my most, if it's not my most viewed video on Booktube, it's one of my most viewed videos on Booktube. And it's this whole idea of what is a reader, and like how do we define that, you know, and what does it mean to like what they look like, how they act, all that kind of stuff. And I got a very positive response off of my video. A lot of people watched that video. They liked what I had to say. But, you know, at the same time, it kind of drew this division in the sand as far as where I stood on Booktube. And I don't regret making the video. I stand behind everything I said in it, but I wish that maybe I would have thought it through. And I was very, like I said, naive to the whole new thing of Booktube. And in fact, at that time, I wouldn't have even called it drama. I would have just called it my opinion on what I saw going on. In the last year and a half that I've been on Booktube, I was trying to think of like what the big drama issues were that came up. And, you know, after that, it was the whole issue with the book, Carve the Mark. Is that the title? I never read it, but I think that's the issue. You know, where the picture of that was posted on Instagram, and then people took sides on Twitter and in comments of videos, and then it was this very, like, kind of mob mentality thing happening. Nobody really likes to hear those words used, mob mentality, on Booktube, but, like, let's just call a spade a spade. That's what happened. There was a lot of attacking going on. There was a lot of viciousness, but behind the context of intellectual words being used. And that happened. And then, you know, it was like this whole discussion of Jay Asher's 13 Reasons Why, and when the show came out. And, you know, basically it was like people loved it or people hated it. And if you liked the show and you said, I agree, or I you know, this is what I thought, then everybody was like, well, you know, you don't consider issues of mental health and all these kinds of things, right? And then recently it has been about, and I'm kind of dumbing all this down just to kind of speed this part of the video up, but recently it's been all this drama about booktubers, bigger booktubers specifically, getting, you know, book deals and getting their books published. And people are taking sides on that and what they think and what they don't think and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know, really sitting back watching it where I'm at now, having gone through all of the drama in the first year, let me tell you what kind of happened. So, and there's been other drama that I've been involved in too. It's not just that. But, you know, at the very beginning, I was very naive and very gullible about what was going on. And then I kind of got consumed with the drama. And now I'm at a point too, or I'm at a point where I just sit back and I watch the drama go on, but I don't really respond to it. And I am now. I am in this video because I have a message that I want to say. I have something to say. But anyway, now I just kind of watch it, and I really honestly think to myself, how do y'all have so much time for this? Like, I can't even keep up with reading the books and meeting my Goodreads goal, let alone all this drama that's going on. And, you know, what it is that I think we hide behind this idea of having intellectual discussions about books with really taking personal biases and personal opinions and telling somebody that they're wrong in what they feel or what they believe. And one of my favorite booktubers is Francina Simone, and I've talked about her on my channel before, and I know a lot of people love her and know her, and a lot of people love her for her book discussions. One of the reasons why I love her is that she never has these book discussions where she says, but see, you're wrong if you don't agree with this. She puts out what she believes. She puts out what she thinks based on her personal experiences, based on her response to what's going on in the world. She puts out her response to what she's read, and she takes all things into consideration. She does not react, okay? And the difference between reacting and responding is that somebody reacts. It's like if somebody hits you, you hit them back, right? You don't think it through. Responding is when somebody hits you, you sit back and you go, I was just hit. Why did they hit me? What is this about? Did I bump them? And then you respond. You might hit them back. Who knows? That might be the choice you make. Or you might go, that really hurt. Why did you do that? Francina Simone responds. She doesn't react. And I can very much imagine that if we were having a discussion sitting here in my living room and she was sitting on my couch, you know, she might say to me, well, let me explain to you why I feel A, B, and C. And I'd say, okay. And she'd explain it to me and I'd say, well, I totally see where you're coming from, but like I feel this way, right? And she'd go, okay. I hear what you're saying, Peter, but I don't agree with this part because of, and we would have an intellectual conversation, right? It wouldn't be conflictual. It wouldn't be, you're wrong, I don't agree with you, I'm defriending you, I'm unfollowing you off of Twitter, I'm unsubscribing to you. It wouldn't be all that nonsense, right? We're able to have a mature intellectual discussion about our differences. And I think what happens a lot of times on BookTube, I've really been thinking a lot about this like whole drama that goes on in the BookTube community, because the reason it's important to me is that BookTube is my safe place. BookTube is where I come to talk about books. Books are where I go when I want to escape from the problems of the world. I don't want to come to a place that's filled with even more drama than my daily life has. It's just not fun for me. It feels toxic at times when that goes on. And I think that in the future, many of us need to be able to open the discussions on these topics without having such personal biases that we're attacking other people, that we need to be able to say, hey, you know what? We can all have our opinions about this. We can have a Google Hangout. We can have a discussion. We can like all open it up. Let's all make a video about this and hashtag it, this conversation or whatever. But let's not argue with each other. Let's not say this person doesn't know what they're talking about or this person's wrong or whatever. Because I think a lot of times what happens is that we take our personal biases, right? Those things that have happened to us, our personal experiences in life, we take them and we attach so closely, okay, our feelings and our emotions to them, that if you disagree with my stance based on my personal belief system and my personal experience, then you're wrong. How can you not agree with what I've gone through? You don't know what I've gone through. It's not just a book. It's not just a book with trigger warnings. It's not just an Instagram picture. It's not just an opinion. It's my personal experience and my belief systems. But see, we're not learning from each other when we do that, okay? We've stopped the conversation. We're standing in the road with our hands in our pockets and we're not listening to each other at that point, right? We're telling each other that we're wrong instead of saying to each other, what can I learn from this experience? What is it you want me to hear that I don't understand? What would you like me to gain from this experience? Books are intellectual pieces that are supposed to make us think. They're pieces of artwork created to make us think differently about something, to have an emotional, human experience and response to what's going on in the world. And Booktube should be a place where we can safely do that and not come for each other and not have these little clicks that go on all over Booktube and say, oh, I don't like this person because they felt that way, or I don't like this person because they felt that way, or they use this language, or they say that, or whatever. Booktube should be a place where we are all encompassing and all embracing our differences and our difference of opinions about things, and able to have an open and honest discussion about these topics that are so critical and so scary to talk about that people have really, really emotional responses to them. You know, there was, in the last year, a lot of I'm just going to pick one topic out, okay? There was this whole discussion about sexuality in books that was going on, and the need for diversity and all this kind of stuff. And you know, I read mostly gay books. If I read a book that it happens to be LGBTQ+, okay? If I read a book in that, it's typically a book that is about a gay character because, personally, I relate to that. That's what I want to read. And when I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of that out there. Well, when I say something about that in there, I also have a personal response to that when I'm reading the book. I'm like, oh, that experience is different than mine, or I don't relate to that, or they got that wrong, or I don't like that, or whatever. Like, I've talked in here about one of the tropes that I don't like in books is this whole idea of the straight athlete that's coming out and then he becomes gay. Like, it's trite to me, right? But the thing is that when we have this discussion about sexuality, especially on Booktube, there's now all of these different issues like pansexuality and asexuality and the importance of representation of asexuality in books and what is asexuality and what is pansexuality and all this kind of stuff. And I have a good friend of mine that identifies as asexual. And, you know, when all this was going on, I was like completely confused. I was like, I don't know what asexuality is. You know, I don't get it whatsoever. I don't even know that I get it to the point where how would I know if I even identified that way, if that makes sense, right? And so I called her up on the phone and I said, hey, can we have a conversation? Like, I need to remain teachable and I need you to educate me. And she goes, yeah, what's going on? And I said, I don't understand pansexuality, asexuality. I don't understand this gender binary stuff. Can you explain it to me, right? And we had this really cool conversation where she explained all of this stuff to me. I didn't say, oh, that can't be, or I don't relate to that, or that's not true, or all that kind of stuff. I was open to it. And now it's like opened this whole world for me where I find interest in those things that I didn't understand before, right? Because before I was afraid to talk about those things because I didn't understand them. And I think a lot of times when person A over here has such a strong response to something, even if it's in a book or somebody's critique of a book, and person B over here has the alternative response to it, those of us that are in the middle that are like, I don't really weigh in on this personal issue either way, like I'm not in that, right? I'm not in that discussion of whether the issue is diversity or sexuality or race or violence or whatever the issue is. If we're not in the personal story that it's about, we feel like we don't have a place to discuss that, and that is bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. But for those of us that don't know, we need to remain teachable and be educated on what those things are. It's not okay to choose ignorance. It's just not. And especially not in the Booktube community. I would like going forward in 2018 for those of us that consider ourselves voices within the Booktube community that want to learn, for us to be willing to open those conversations that are scary and difficult, and to stop pointing fingers and saying who's right and who's wrong, and embrace everybody's differences and start asking questions like, what can I learn from this? What do I need to be taught? What is a perspective you'd like me to hear? What do you think I don't understand that I should understand? And instead of saying to somebody, no, remaining teachable and remaining open and honest. And I think that's the only way that Booktube's going to continue to grow. We're all of us going to have differences. We're all going to have differences of opinions and belief systems, and that's okay. Like, that's amazing, right? But in this community, of all of the communities on YouTube, of which I am the proudest to be part of, and I'm on 4 different communities. Sounds such bullshit. It's like, I'm on the board of this community. But you know what I mean? Like, in all these different communities on YouTube, This is the place where we should be able to stay innocent-minded, yet have intellectual conversations and be kind to one another and not be hurtful and not point fingers. Like, this is the place where the majority of us relate to these issues in books because we have personal experiences where we've been hurt or we've been misunderstood or people don't understand our gig, right? And so when we read these books, we relate to them. So if we have personal experiences, for example, if I'm reading a book about being gay, instead of telling somebody they're wrong in their opinion, what I can say is, I read this book and based on my personal experience, let me tell you a little bit about it. This is how I saw it. And we can start taking things from our, experience and our strength and going forward, instead of like pointing the fingers, we can have an open dialogue. That is what I want for Booktube, is this huge open dialogue about these issues that are so important that we can educate and talk to one another and remain teachable. And I think that's what Booktube can become this amazing, great learning experience. And then I can sit back and continue to be naive and gullible and innocent and go, wow, what an amazing place. I love this place so much. I'm so proud to be a member of Booktube. I love you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.